I guess I should ask, like, are you still in Nashville? Like, I'm reading your story, and you're like I feel your pain in almost every aspect. And are you still like hanging tight, hanging tough down in Nashville, or are you floating back and forth between LA and Nashville?
Basically floating back and forth, but based in it's not really LA. I live north of LA, about 25 miles. This place called Santa Clarita.
Okay.
You know,
okay.
You ever come out here? You know where Magic Mountain is?
You know what? I've never been there, but I know that's where the Kiss concert was for Meets the Phantom in the Park.
Oh yeah, exactly. They did that by the old Colossus coaster. So I'm about 4 miles southwest of that, and it's like a suburban type of area that a lot of people, when they want to escape Hollywood, move to. Us types. So I end up flying to Nashville, a lot to do stuff with John, or the band is basically based in Nashville. But yeah, as far as living there, it's tough for me.
You know what? It's funny because a friend of mine lives there, and she's originally from New York. Her and her sister they're both Brooklyn girls, and they moved to Nashville. And I'm just like, what in heaven's name would possess you to do that? And now, like, they moved there, I guess, like 7-8 years ago, and now, like, they bitch about it constantly because it's just so overcrowded, and people are it's the music capital world now, truly.
Yeah. When we first moved there, it was a lot smaller, and part of what we were thinking was, well, we don't want to. New York's really big, LA's really big. Where can we go that still has a music, city vibe? And I lived in Nashville because my dad lived in Nashville for a really long time. He's a classical musician, and that was like the other center is Nashville or New York for classical music. So I had spent my summers there as a kid, and so that it seemed like a good place to give a shot. And but I couldn't hang after a year. And it was nothing against Nashville. It was more the truth is I was trying to get out of a damaging relationship, let's say, that I had left back here, and the only way I thought I would ever get out of that situation was by moving to a different state. Funny enough. And then, of course, what do you do? Like, the minute I get far enough away, I'm like, maybe I should go back. So
right.
Yeah.
No, it's funny because you mentioned, in the bio there's about this relationship. So was the relationship with a real person, or was the relationship with music, or both?
Actually, for the song Pony, that's actually with a girl I met in Nashville. And it was the strangest thing because, man, I was going through a really tough time. And part of my moving from L.A. to Nashville was to start over. I'd been in this relationship with this other girl out in L.A. for years, and it was one of those things where, okay, I need to start completely over to get away from this. And then I met this person in Nashville who was just different than everybody else. Sorry, there's a helicopter flying above head now.
I thought that was above me.
I can't believe, like, the one time I'm trying to be on the phone out here, they've got to land a helicopter. It's like 50 feet from my head. So, where I am funny. Right now? I'm at the Jet Propulsion Laboratory in Pasadena. That's where I do some work over here, and where we, NASA, where we build spacecraft and stuff.
Nice.
So, that's my other thing that I'm into. Every once in a while we got helicopters and stuff like that flying around.
Well,
but
the crazy thing is, there's literally a helicopter right now flying outside of my office as well.
Oh, funny. We're getting it from both sides. But if you can hear me, okay, cool. I got to get better headphones too, man. So the song Pony really is like, I ran into this girl who was exactly what I was looking for, and I thought, okay, good. I've made the right decision. I've come to Nashville, and I kept running into 18-year-olds that were married and had kids already. It was like,
Well,
you're 18. Why do you have kids? Why are you married? You know, so that made things a little bit of a struggle. And then suddenly, I meet this girl who, lo and behold, I know nothing about her. She's really cute. We run into each other at the park, right? And we end up going out. While I'm talking to her, hey, what do you do? Oh, well, I work in the music industry. Wait a minute, I work in the music industry. So we find out, well, what do you do? I sing in a band. I sing in a band. And then we start talking about the shows that are coming up, and we find out we're actually on the same bill in 6 weeks. Her band was playing, after mine at the same club back then. This is in Nashville. So, and of course, it's one of those things when you're in that situation, you're in a new city, you don't know very many people, and you meet somebody like that, you're like, holy shit, this is the holy grail, is what I've been looking for. And then, of course, there's always a backstory, right? Because anybody like that probably has a lot of friends, let's say. So that particular relationship, the one that's related to the song Pony, that's a real person, yep. And she still lives in Nashville.
What? And does she know the songs about her?
I don't think so, but funny enough, while we were recording the song, it was last year roughly, I mentioned it. I said, this is about so-and-so, and they're like, what? I just played with her, because, these guys play with a lot of different bands in Nashville. They're like, I just played a gig with her last week. So I'm like, okay, well, that's interesting. And then John was out at a club and said, hey, there's her name, right? Snaps a picture and sends it to me. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, maybe we will run into each other, so I better be careful what I say.
Yeah, don't let out too much. It'll get back to her.
Exactly.
No, I'm
true.
Now going through too, before I even reached into the bio and where I was just sitting and listening to the music, I said to myself, it just has that feeling that this is a deep album, and then go through and then you read the bio and you've had not only the struggles with the love, and you also have had struggles with depression and addiction. So I mean, it's like you really went deep on this, to really pull from yourself to really make this album.
Yeah, it's almost been a necessary therapy in a way, and I didn't set out to necessarily write about this or that, but it started happening. And I wasn't even sure how John would feel about it, or even how I would feel about it, because some of it's pretty exposed. And, you get away from it, and you're like, I don't even want to think about those times anymore. They make me really uncomfortable. But,
right.
Yeah, you look back, though, the most surprising thing, though, is looking back and going, how could I have not known at the time that was a problem? You know what I mean? Like, oh, yeah, you're going out every night and drinking what every day for how many years? And you didn't think that was a problem, You look back. But, so, yeah, a lot of those themes come up. And I questioned, well, why do they come up, why do people talk about these kind of things, in particular in music? And I think it's because those type of heavy experiences, they never really leave you. And it really changes the way you approach every other relationship in your life. Like I've learned so much about what it means to have an issue with addiction, right? That you'll hear the phrase that people do crazy things for love, right? And it's really that same circuit that goes haywire that ends up with you forming a relationship with a substance or with alcohol, whatever it is, it's your demon. So
right.
it really is a relationship in a sense. And once you realize that, you realize why it's so hard to get away from, and why you can't just grow up and go back to it, and have it be better. It's never better. It never leaves you. And it's just like the girl you go to get back together with. If it was a bad relationship before, it'll likely be a bad relationship again. And we see it time and time again. The funny thing is it tends to get worse, and then it kills people.
It's scary when you put it that way, because you can probably, and I never even pictured it that way, but you can almost kind of think to yourself too, which have you done crazier things for the addiction, whether it's drugs or alcohol, or for the love of a person. You could do crazy stuff for both, and I'm sure people have done crazier stuff for an addiction than they have for people.
Exactly. And I think it helps people. One of the things I hope I get to make some impact on at some point is continuing to alleviate the stigma that's associated with alcoholism and drug addiction, because it's right now the face on it is the guy who's a criminal. It's the person who, it's the distasteful person who steals from you. That's the face that's been put on it, because those are the people that get caught, and we're starting to find out there's a significant portion of the population that just functions like, in this other mode, and they are really intelligent people, and they are creative, and they do contribute to society. Some of the best, some of the strongest contributions have almost been because of the obsession. You apply that same obsession that you have experienced toward your relationship with alcohol and drugs, and that same obsession toward studying science or any other field, and you can be wildly successful in that field because you're willing to go so damn far beyond where other people are. So, I am hoping that at some point there won't be such a stigma on it, and people can be more open, and that they can find treatment easier, and it doesn't take 15 years and a lot of people dying before that comes about. Because I think there's still a huge stigma out there. I think there are a lot of people that really can't or won't or don't admit to being alcoholic when they really are. I also think it's a personal limit where you draw that line, right? People say, well, I don't drink in the morning, so I'm not an alcoholic. If you're looking forward to getting hammered this weekend, you've got to, if that's your main focus, not what you're doing, but what kind of drinks are going to be there, that's a problem,
right?
I think, right? Like maybe that should be questioned.
Totally.
Maybe if you're doing something more enjoyable with the right people, who knows?
So when you were writing this stuff, so it sounds like John had really no idea, kind of like what you were going through.
Yeah, pretty much. I had asked him. There were certain songs he had written that, and by songs I mean the music, the guitar parts that he had come up with that grabbed me, and I really liked those, and I liked those in particular over some other stuff he had written earlier. And, maybe in parallel too. And so he kind of thought, okay, well, I'm going to see what I can do along these lines and keep doing something from this part, because I think he's got a certain side that he's never explored as much. So I would say I kind of pushed him, pushed him toward his evil twin a little bit maybe. And yeah, he didn't really have any idea what I was going to put over the songs in terms of lyric and vocal until he heard it.
Wow.
So
did he at any point, as you were going through that, did he take a step back and say, hey, Scott, are you all right? Is there, you need anything, or do you need to talk? Or
and he's known. We've been friends for a long time, and at some point he was really like an older brother to me, and we've confided so much in each other about personal things over the years, and there's a strange, it can be really tough because, talking to somebody about some of those issues, sometimes you just have to watch them go through it and hope for the best. You can only help so much, so to speak. And now, while writing this album in particular, though, I've been well, I'll just say under medication because it's not technically pure sober. but I've actually been out of I haven't had a drink in 7 years now.
Oh wow, yeah.
So so I haven't been at immediate risk, any time during this process. So most of it's about what I've been through and realized. That said, thinking you're safe is dangerous because you're only as safe as your next decision. And if that decision is, I haven't had a drink in 7 years, maybe today is a good day to have a beer, right? That's all it can take, and you're back into it. So I don't think there was any realistic worry, in terms of, hey, are you doing this right now? I think he knew most of it was historical.
Wow. Yeah. What you said there was so deep. You're only as safe as your next decision. It literally took my breath away for a second. I was like, wow, like I just saw my whole life flash before my eyes when you said that.
Yeah, and it's I've been to that limit where, and this actually happened to me in Nashville. I remember having a complete nervous breakdown where it was this really scary vision all of a sudden of, oh my God, I can't keep doing what I'm doing, but I can't end it either. Because, and then you look at it and you start to think of things like suicide and how do you understand how that could happen. And when you're in that situation of, I can't do this for another day, for another hour, I have to stop, yet I can't stop. That's the breaking point, and you got to get somebody before that point, and somehow get through to them that it's just a matter of, like most things, you know what? Maybe tonight's not the right night to make that decision. Wait till tomorrow. You can always do it tomorrow morning, right? And things can change dramatically in those 8 to 10 hours. And you realize though that it really can come down to one bad decision. That's a scary thought. Yeah.
It really is. Yeah. Yeah, it could be a bad decision, or it could be a good decision where you end up turning that into music like you've done.
Yeah, very true. I mean, life is what it is, and being able to identify what hand you were dealt and what your weak points are. Some people start to be able to nail that in time. Other people have really crazy ideas that I can't relate to at all. Like, how did this shooting happen at the baseball field the other day? What goes on in somebody's head to be able to pull something like that? That's so far off the scale that it makes, a problem of drugs and alcohol that's like, okay, yeah, no big deal. At least I'm not going to fly a plane into a building, right?
Yeah.
So everybody's got their something.
This is true. So now you guys are calling the band Edge of Free. Is there anything that the quote unquote free is that you're on the edge of?
Yes, that's a phrase I jotted down in my lyric book quite some years ago, actually, and it was during that time when I was mulling over, what is this need for escape? Why is this? What's this feeling of wanting to get away, and it comes down to, well, I want to feel free. I want to be free of needing to go work some shitty job, free of needing to feel hungover, right? Free of whatever it is. But the more you try and struggle to achieve it, the more you realize, guess what? This whole concept of, go be free. Hey, if I just reach this, if I just get to this point financially, if my band just gets to this point, I'm going to be completely free. And you picture this person who's totally happy, who never gets sick, who's, 10 feet tall. And then you realize, wait a minute, hang on. I'm not going to get taller, am I? No, that doesn't happen. You don't grow. So you realize you're fooling yourself, in a lot of ways. So, the name Edge of Free really comes from being able to get close. I mean, you can do certain things that certainly feel great in life and get you to a point of feeling relatively free. But the name comes from the struggle, and is ironic, really, in the sense that I feel like the edge is the limit. There's no true passage to freedom being human. You're always going to need shelter and food or something, and you usually need it from another person, funny enough. Now, you think about how much we depend on others on a daily life. So, yeah. So Edge of Free has some significant meaning for me behind it. It's hard for me to understand how other people perceive it, you know?
No, that's interesting. Like John, your counterpart, does he conceive it or perceive it as something different?
Yeah, I think I told him up front. I said, "Oh man, I've got the name, and this is what it means." And I think he just looked at me and was like, "Okay, cool." Yeah, I mentioned it to my friends. They thought it was interesting. So, yeah, I think he's on board, and he and I have these kind of philosophical discussions, and we always have. It's been part of our friendship. We'll go hiking and talk for hours, just existential stuff. What is the meaning of life? Why are we here? Where are we going? And that's the stuff I really dig, and I like to write about that kind of stuff, and that's why the lyric content can be abstract, because I'm thinking of these most experiences in life in a rather abstract way. It's just the way my brain works,
Right.
Of course, the other side of my life, what I study is the universe, cosmology, astrophysics. That's what I'm into. So, and that's a good place for your brain to be able to go when you're somebody with my condition. I'll just say it like that. To be able to take a look at things from a solar system or universal perspective, and how small things really are here compared to the overall view.
Yeah, that's true. Things are small, but people make them so big.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, Trump tweeted something today. Yeah.
Right. Hey, speaking of something small, do you still have that RX-7 that you moved to Nashville in?
Oh, John's RX-7, the one that he turned sideways on the 101 freeway on my birthday. We used to take that thing out to rehearsal out in the valley. I don't know. He trashed that. That thing's gone. But yeah, he ended up driving separately with all his stuff to get to Nashville from the way I got there. I took a plane. I had driven across the country a couple times already. One time in a 70 Cuda that was my high school car, and
nice.
Was a fun journey. But you drive across the country a couple times, and doing it a third time, unless you've got a lot of time and money and friends to do it with, doing it by yourself is kind of a struggle. So,
yeah, I can imagine.
Especially in the kind of cars we own.
All right. So the album, it's out now, correct?
Yeah. It came out March 20th.
Oh wow. Okay. So and it's self-titled,
May 20th.
Edge of Free.
Man,
May
20th. I'm like back. I'm like off a couple months here. Where are we in June? Yeah. May 20th was the date. Okay.
Cool. So and it's self-titled, called Edge of Free.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice. Now, is there I was going to say, is there physical copies or just a digital release, or?
Both. We've got digital distribution, I think, everywhere that anybody would reasonably want to download it. Now, of course, we've got mastered for iTunes, which it actually does sound significantly better on the digital side coming from iTunes. I like the mastering they did on that better.
Oh, wow.
And physical CD copies. Yeah. So, and the physical CD sounds absolutely the best. And this is such an analog record. There is, you can hear it when you listen to it in the right format, right? Which is hopefully the CD. I prefer that everybody heard that, through CD, and later through vinyl. We'll press some vinyl. I'm looking forward to being able to press some vinyl. But part of this was wanting to stick with what we know and really keep it organic, where, hey, you know what, we can do one of these songs, just John and I, any day of the week. Break out an acoustic guitar, that's it. It's all that's required, vocal and guitar. And
right.
the strings that are on the record are real. That's a guy who plays everything from cello to violin and lays it out like a symphony. Those are all real and, you know, recorded via microphone, no samples in there. Same with drums, same with bass. And there's no tuning on the vocals or anything like that you hear on most of the records these days, if not all. So, yeah, keeping with that theme of, I've been told by a couple of friends and professionals in the industry that when they finally listen to the CD, they could hear, you know, a lot more depth and all the extra stuff he threw in, right?
Oh, wow.
Compared to the digital download. I hate the way it sounds on Spotify and Amazon, to be honest. I'm hoping that Spotify Premium sounds better than the free version, because if you get the free version, you know, downsize it and compress the file and make it sound worse for you. Yeah.
See, I don't. I mean, I'm sure there's plenty of people out there listening that do the whole Spotify thing. I can't stand Spotify. I refuse to use it just because of how bad it screws everybody over.
Yeah, you know, it doesn't really work for me very well. Now, I mean, I spend so much of my time now listening to music that we're writing, because once we got into writing mode, which is going on like 3 years now, we just basically kept it up. So I've always got 3 to 5 new songs, and I've got the music on my phone, and I'm churning that probably 80% of the time. Then I've got my Pandora playlist, and I am trying a little bit more to check out new stuff and, you know, spend a little bit of time on XM and on internet radio, you know, kind of in search of. But I hate to say it, but yeah, the streaming thing, it can be a plus. If you're on a playlist and nobody would have heard you otherwise, then maybe that's a great thing. But for us right now, we need people to buy the record. Like, if the record doesn't sell, you know what I mean? So
exactly.
Oh boy.
Yeah, people need to buy it. Go and buy it. Like he said, go to iTunes where you can hear it really, really good, or even better, buy the physical copy so you can hear it even better.
Yeah, we've got copies too. That we've got a bunch of signed copies, and we spent a lot of time even on the artwork, where we took all of the artwork is done basically by John and myself, and I laid out the lyrics on. He would do an artwork page that had imagery on it that basically I thought related to the song. We'd agreed, does this kind of capture the feel of the song? And so if it did, I would then take the lyric and find a font that worked over that. And so the CD booklet is basically every page is a work of art that pertains to the song and has all the lyrics on it. And that's something people will miss through digital, though I think we'll make it available on our website anyway. And on the band website, too, we've got the CDs right there.
Cool. So where can everybody go to find you guys on, I guess, the world of social media and your website, which I'm sure the website has everything on there as well?
Yeah, edgefree.com. .com. And there's a store on that site right there, and a bunch of other stuff, links to the video on YouTube, and then, of course, we have the Facebook page, too. And,
cool. Very, very
and
cool.
that's under Edgefree, you know, also.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool.
We actually have really cool T-shirts, which was something I'm really picky about my T-shirts, right? Because it's so hot here most of the time. So I said, if I'm going to do T-shirts, you know, I want something I can actually wear. And so we ended up with these for the price. It's like, okay, these things are killer, man. It's got the big red logo on the front. And it's like this heather gray. And, so I'm a softie, but that's it. Those are on the website, too.
Cool. So Hey, let me hop off here. I just got somebody to walk in the door. But yeah, let me thank you for all that, and edgeoffree.com. Everybody go there, check it out, buy the album, and make Scott force Scott and John to make another album.
Yeah, that's what we need to do. Cool. Hey, thank you very much. This has been great.
Thanks, Scott. Take care, man.
Talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye-bye.